I will share my screen. Just a moment. I gotta pull up my deck here, and we'll get things going. All right. Okay. All right, great. You guys can see my screen okay?
Sure.
All right, excellent, excellent.
Yep.
Okay, great. So, well, first of all, I just wanted to welcome everybody to today's session. My name is Andrew Michelov. I've met some of you perhaps. I know, so Steve I met on one of the earlier virtual user group events we had over the last couple of months. So we kicked this program off, the virtual program, in response to the pandemic, and had lots of live events previous to this, but obviously for all the travel restrictions and so forth, had to make a switch to the virtual environment. We found these to be quite valuable to our attendees. We're able to quickly spin these things up and get lots of people coming in from all different parts of the country, and when it's otherwise difficult to get people together because of geographic distance to the event, I think that this creates a lot of opportunity for us all. So wanted to welcome you first of all. Hope everybody's doing well and staying safe. So we're excited to kick this one off. This is, I think we started our user group program in ANZ last June, so it's about a year ago that we did a tour over there, and really got a chance to connect with folks throughout the country. So excited for this, excited to get you all back together. For whatever reason you're deciding to come in today, whether it's just to connect with some of your peers, to learn from some of the folks on the Boomi side, you're seeking knowledge, you're seeking new ideas, understanding different use cases, how other customers and Boomi team members are using the platform to help achieve their business objectives. So whatever your reason is, I mean, it's really become a major focus for us to put a lot into these events, put a lot into the community as well, because we feel that it's really essential and it's going to help you all broaden your network and opportunities to continue to excel on the Boomi platform. So we hope you'll take advantage of these opportunities. We hope you'll engage with us today, and look at this as a great opportunity to connect with your peers. 1 second. So a couple of quick things. As you probably heard, the session is being recorded. The main purpose for that is so that for those who couldn't make it, they're able to refer back to the session. They may want to go watch that, or you may hear something that you'd love to refer back to at some point in the future. So we will be recording it and placing the recording on the Boomi community. So you'll be able to refer back to that at any point. If you're not comfortable with the recording and would prefer to keep your camera off, that's okay too, we understand that. And if you don't want to have your voice recorded either, I would suggest using the Zoom chat feature. I will be keeping a watch on that, so your questions will get answered if you post your questions in there. But would certainly encourage you to engage, as I mentioned before. Turn your cameras on. Gives us an opportunity to put a name with a voice with a face, so that when we do return to those live events eventually, fingers crossed, that we'll recognize our peers. We've had about 15 of these virtual events, and I've had an opportunity to recognize people from all over the world that I've met in person, whether it's at Boomi World or events like this. So please do that. I think it really adds to the the vibe that we're trying to create within these sessions. It's really about you guys connecting. Your mics are muted. You're free to unmute your mics at any point. If you find a break in the action and you want to ask a question, please do so. There are a couple presentations happening today, so I would certainly encourage you to take a break, or when they take a break, to jump in, ask your questions, or you can also save them for the end. When you're not speaking, just silence your mic just so we can reduce background noise. There are 2 polls that we're going to be launching during this session. One I'll kick off here shortly. The second one is at the very end, and that's really about providing us with feedback so that we can continue to improve these events over time. We have taken the poll data and reviewed it and analyzed it and made a lot of changes as we've gone over the last, like I said, the last 6 to 8 weeks or so. So they really do help us to continue to improve these events. So feedback is a gift. Second to last, there is a care pack opportunity. If you're interested in the care pack, please post your wishes into the chat. We'll take note of that, and when Vicky returns to the call, she will reach out to you separately and make sure she has all your contact information so she can send that out to you. And then last but not least, have fun. I think these events have been fun. They've been challenging at times. Sometimes it's hard to get people to engage in a virtual environment, which I think is why the camera helps a lot. But they're fun and they're interesting, and there's lots of great opportunity to connect, and there's lots of great information being shared. So definitely take advantage of it and enjoy yourselves and have fun at the same time. All right, let's see. So real quick, we'll do the first exercise in just a moment here. But again, my name is Andrew. I run the community as well as the user group program. They're both global programs, so I've had a chance to interact with people around the globe, which has been an awesome opportunity for me. So I'm happy to be back here with you all in ANZ. The second piece here is there's a platform called Mentimeter. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar at all with that. Anybody seen that platform before? Kind of just shake your head if I see you on camera. I see Paul. No. Steve, no. John, no. I think I saw a nod there. You'll check it out in a minute. It's a really cool application that uses simple short form, a poll, and then displays the data is any different way you want, but I choose to use the word cloud, and I think it just really helps to kind of get the brain kickstart going, get you guys talking, get you guys engaged. So we'll kick that off in just a moment, and then we'll do the opening poll right after that, as well as another kind of networking activity called the Brain Toss, where you'll all have a chance to share your Boomi story. I'll have a slide that helps to support that initiative. Then VN will come in around 2:35 or so. Arun, you'll have to keep a watch on his timing. Make sure he's available at that time. But he'll talk to you in detail about Boomi CI/CD capabilities. And as I mentioned before, you have questions for VN. He's great. A lot of you probably know him. Just jump right in, ask him questions, and that's what he's here. He's here for your benefit. Then Arun will lead an interactive discussion between attendees, knows you all very well, understands your use cases, and we'll sort of do an open format panel style discussion and hope to kind of incent some connectivity amongst our attendees today. And then if we have time at the end, I'm going to do a short demo on the Boomiverse community. We're rolling out with a ton of new features almost monthly. And it's we've sort of productized the platform and have been rolling out with monthly updates, and will continue to do so. There's been a lot of investment by Boomi in that program, and especially now with the lockdown and people really being distanced from one another, that community and user groups become that much more critical to making sure people have the tools necessary to be successful. So I'll try to give you a quick update on that, and then we'll wrap things up, do that closing poll at the end, and have an opportunity for some live feedback. So that's the agenda for today. Let me kick this first one off. So I'm gonna do the Mentimeter piece first. I'm gonna switch my screens over to that. If you have a browser handy or your mobile phones, please pull that up now and go to this website, menti.com, and then type in that code right there. If you guys could all take a second to do that. I'm going to present so we can watch this word cloud build out in real time. Everybody can see that? You guys can see the code and everything else? Cool. And again, for those of you who are just joining, we'd love to see you on camera, as well as hear your voices. So if you have questions, feel free to jump in at any point, ask away. This is very open discussion we're hoping to have today. And like I said, the cameras really helped people feel a bit more connected. So if you're comfortable with that, would love to see you on camera. All right, so we got our first participant coming in there. So the intent of this really is to kind of start the dialogue, start getting people to think a little bit, using your brains. I'd love to have some more participation, obviously, as well as folks share why they're feeling the way they're feeling and how do they hope to feel by the end of today's session. So I'd love to get some volunteers for that. I didn't post my thoughts or my feelings here because I'm conducting this experiment, but I'm certainly feeling excited as well. Excited that we're all here together, that we're a new group that we get to connect with and hopefully connect each other to, and hopefully that you guys all have some positive outcomes coming from today's session. So I'm excited about the session. I'm excited to be here with you all today. Anybody else want to volunteer why you feeling the way you're feeling and how you hoping to feel by the end of the session?
No one's going to volunteer. I'll volunteer. My word was cool because it's bloody freezing cold in Adelaide today.
It's cold. It's cold. So how you hoping to feel after this? You hoping to feel a little warmer?
Well, hopefully. So yeah, so that's definitely a state of being rather than a state of mind at the moment. It's just cold and wet, horrible, miserable day.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Anybody else? John, I'm going to see you're on camera. Paul, I'm going to pick on you guys first.
Well, covering Steve's thing, that means we'll be cold and miserable tomorrow. we get Steve's weather 24 hours later, usually. So my word was interested. So I've just started out working with Boomi, doing the third of many projects now. So it's been an interesting journey, learning what it can and can't do, and how much of the stuff I thought it could do, it can't, and how many new things I didn't know it could do that it can. So just interested to find out more, I guess.
Cool. What you say kind of reminds me of, I think it was at Boomi World 2018. So Michael Dell came to our event and was on stage with Chris McNabb, our CEO, and I think Chris had asked. I'm thinking back. Chris asked him, why did you acquire Boomi? Why did you purchase Boomi? And he basically said, in one way or another, that I've yet to meet a company or a person that didn't need Boomi. So it means it's a very extensible and flexible platform that can be put to many, many uses. So hopefully you'll learn something today, Paul. I'm sure you will. A lot of people are using Boomi in a lot of interesting ways. So hopefully that's an outcome for you. But appreciate your participating. Anybody else want to share? Maybe we'll get one more person and then we'll move on from this exercise.
Yeah, Johnny or Andrew. Yeah, my word was calm. Lots going on at the moment. Not a lot in the Boomi world at the moment, but so I'm interested in catching up with where it's at and what new things are coming out, and look at opportunities with it.
All right. Good stuff. Okay. All right. Well, let's. If anybody else wants to go, let's move on from this. Hopefully that was somewhat inspiring. It's a smaller group here today, but kind of gets things moving along. It's always folks on camera that dominate these types of activities. So we need to get some more folks on camera. I'll leave that up to Arun to nudge people along.
Yep. And just to add to, hi Gigi, is that?
Hi, this is Pallavi, and I'm joined from India.
Hey Pallavi.
Hi, so I just wanted to share that this is my first time, so looking forward to this event, and I'm glad I'm meeting Boomi community. I've been working with Boomi for last 4 years, so it's going to be exciting for me to be a part of this.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and just to add to what you said, Andrew. So we did a series of these events. Perhaps the reason why we have a thin participation today is because we did a series of events which were industry, what do you call, like, industry focused. So we did one for higher education, one for local councils, one for healthcare. Again, this was more like a Melbourne Adelaide combined event. We felt like we should do one combined. Um, Typically, if you would recall, last year we did all of these events in person at the sites. Like we did one in Perth, we did one in Melbourne. We missed out in Adelaide, but then our intention was to kind of do a physical one. We never got a chance to do that. And again, with that kind of I think there is a benefit of doing it even virtually, because now we have participation from a lot of different states together. And sometimes it's important because we want to kind of share, we want to have the customers share their stories themselves. The fundamental idea of this user group was when we interact with our customers, one of the recurring questions that I kept getting asked is, what are other customers doing? Like, what are they doing? What are their struggles? As Paul said, like, would be good to know firsthand from your peer rather than from us, that hey, what works in Boomi, what doesn't work, what are the limitations, what are the things that we can, like, improve the product, and what doesn't work today. We need that kind of shared voice from the group, so that we can take it back to our product management teams. We are constantly engaged and involved with those teams to give them feedback directly from the field in terms of what our customers expect from the product, so that they can enhance and move the product in that direction. And again, the spirit of this user group was not us to kind of say all everything is just great and not so great about Boomi, but for the peers to kind of say that to each other, so that there's a bit more validation in terms of what they're saying. Um, we also kind of, as Andrew shared the agenda, we also want to kind of, show you guys some, and we there's a lot of things that we can kind of talk about, but we don't want it to kind of, just be a one-way information. But we do want to talk about some of the upcoming CI/CD capabilities in Boomi. That is some of the things that a lot of our customers are requesting us to talk about or showcase. So a lot of you might have already met Venkat, but he's one of our senior sales engineer in the region. He'll present a demonstration and some collaterals on how you can do Boomi CI/CD. Andrew is going to speak about the community, but I really want to state one thing about the community which has struck me really very well in the last couple of months. So we recently launched Ask the Expert series. That is that if you, as you know, the Boomi product portfolio has expanded to a number of products now. We started with integration. We added EDI and Flow and Hub and API management. We expanded our portfolio to do DCP and other things. So there's a lot of questions around particular product, like, hey, as Paul mentioned, I want to know more about the gateway features or the API management stuff. So there are so many deep dive technical discussions or questions that someone wants to kind of ask our experts. So for that, we did launch an Ask the Expert series last month, and I've been part of a number of them, and I really feel like, if anyone wants to attend these for more information or for more expert opinions or those technical discussions, then I encourage you to join these things. If you don't have an invite for that, let me know. I can send you those invites. But the purpose of today's meeting is to kind of talk more about what your use cases are, what your journey is, what are you doing in your organization with Boomi. If you can share your story, that'll give others a cue in terms of knowing what other organizations are doing with Boomi, potentially reach out to you if they are on that same path or they plan to do something similar. So hopefully that sets up the context for what we're gonna do today in this meeting.
Yep. I think some of the, think about the community and the number of people in the community. Right now, the Boomiverse has 65,000 plus people and growing. So that's access to 65,000 other people who are users of the Boomi platform that can help you along your journey. So that's just another way that Boomi's making an investment in your success. I mean, the Ask the Expert series is another one. These user groups is another way that you can learn from your peers, and you don't have to feel that you've made, like in Paul's case, you're just kind of getting started along your journey, but you have access to a tremendous network of other people who are doing a lot of the same things that you're doing, or that might be 1 or 2 years or 4 years into their journey with Boomi, and you're just a couple months or 6 months in. So it's really an opportunity for you to learn and grow and connect with your peers. So great points, Arun. Thank you for sharing that. So let's move on with the agenda. Before I move on from that, I want to kick off that first poll. Give me one quick second to pull that up. Okay, opening questions. So I'm going to launch that. That should pop up on your screen. We'd love for you guys to take a second to fill that out. Everybody can see that on their screen? Is that a yes, perhaps? And then while we're doing that, I'm going to pull up the brain toss, which will be the next activity that we'll jump into, and then we'll get into the content of the main thing, the main event today. So this is always an interesting one, as Arun mentioned. We did the live events last year in Melbourne and Perth in the south of Australia. We did not get into New Zealand at all. But these virtual events, once we get back to live, we're not going to replace these. We're just going to add the live events and continue to do the virtual ones, because it gives us a chance to really expand our reach, not only into locations or territories, but also, as Arun mentioned, we were able to do an aged care and higher education user group, which we normally wouldn't be able to do because they're so geographically dispersed, but we were able to do those quite effectively. So we like these events, and I think that provides some opportunity and value for you all as well. All right, so about 50-50 on the first timers here. Actually, usually weighs a bit heavier on the first timers, which is looking like it's doing here. I'll share the results in just a second here. So you guys can all see them, so everybody can see what I'm seeing. Let me end it there. Share the results. So as you can see, a lot of predominant number of first timers. Not a ton of people took the poll, but we have a predominant number of first timers, which is great to see that. So we're reaching new folks. Pretty good split here on where people are coming in from. Don't see anybody from New Zealand. Arun, you'll have to check in on that.
We have I think, okay, I think it's just left. I think it's good.
So we have most of you guys are already familiar with the community. It's great to see that as well. So hopefully the two that said they're not familiar with it, they'll get a chance to learn a bit about that shortly. Some good feedback there as well. People generally seem to like the community, and it's providing value. And then yes to the in-person sessions. So love to see that as well. So we'll get there, and we'll get a chance to meet with you and connect with you in person as well. So appreciate you guys taking the time to do that. Provides us with some great feedback. All right, the brain toss. We kind of started doing this a bit. Some of you started to share your journey a little bit when we were going through the Mentimeter results. But again, this is kind of the meat of this, where you guys all have a chance to share your story. In 30 seconds or 60 seconds, however long you'd like to take. Just want to learn a bit more about, who you are, what's your role, what, business challenges were you looking to resolve that brought you to Boomi in the first place? Has the community been helpful for you on your journey? What are you thinking about next? Where else are you going to be deploying Boomi within your business? And then I kind of switched up this last question because it's generally a stumper. I had the question was an interesting fact about yourself, and nobody seemed to be able to answer that right away. They always had to kind of scratch their head. So I figured this is an easier one. But again, looking for volunteers here, try to get a couple of you guys all sharing. Let's not just focus on the folks on camera. Perhaps Pallavi, am I pronouncing your name correctly? Being that you're so far into your Boomi journey, I'd love to hear from you as well, and
Sure.
perhaps any of those who are not on camera. But do you want to kick it off? And then did I get your names correctly pronounced?
Yes, you did. Thank you. Yes.
Good. Glad I got that. No, appreciate it. Again, thank you for joining us, and thanks for being the first volunteer.
Okay, so you want me to start, right? That's what you said.
Please. Yes, that'd be great.
Yeah. So my name is Pallavi Chincholkar, and I'm from India, as I said before, and I belong to, I'm working for Sitel. I'm manager IT programming, and I've been using Boomi since around 2016. 2016, initial couple of years, I think I was more of an analyst, and I think probably from 2017, I started actually developing things myself. Boomi actually came with to us with success factors. Our company bought SAP success factors, and I've been working on the HR module. So we used Boomi for integrations between success factors and third-party systems. And I came from a background which was C# and .NET, and so switching over to Boomi was a bit of a challenge because it's completely different. It has all this graphic interface and the way it performs. So, however, now it's been around 2-3 years that I've been working, and we've been using Boomi not only for the integrations, we use Boomi for reporting and a lot of stuff. Yeah, and Boomi community has certainly helped because if you search for a .NET issue or anything, you will find hundreds and thousands of help online. But for Boomi community is the way to go. Is the place where you can look out for similar issues that you're facing. If there are any results posted, so that's the way to go. That and has been extremely useful for me during my initial struggle that I had. So Boomi community is definitely helped. And taking you next, we right now it is our integrations that we are focusing on and the other reporting that comes with it. Right now we do not have a next or a different way that we are looking at it, but it will continue for us. Boomi will continue for us in our company for all the things that we have been using for till now. And I didn't understand the last question. What is your favorite car and why? Anyway, but I will answer that question. My favorite car is Jaguar, and why? I just like it. I don't have any other reason for that, and I don't have that car right now. It could be my dream car, and it is mostly because of its shape and size, I believe. Yeah.
So the question is meant to make you smile, laugh a little bit, and makes people feel a bit more comfortable in that case. So cool, excellent. Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you for the shout outs for the community. It's great to hear that. That's always good feedback for me and for my team. Yeah, I'll get into a bit more detail around what exactly is the Boomiverse, and what are some of the programs that live within the Boomiverse that can help accelerate your journeys. So we'll try and make some time for that. But thank you for being our first. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Who's going to be our second? Who's going number 2? As my brain starts to wake up a bit here, being about 12:30 in the morning on the East Coast of the U.S. I'm starting to wake up. But who's number 2?
Gotta be the man with the crane background in the back.
I'll jump in there. I'm going to answer the favorite car question first, though, because I'm just weird. It's actually the thing behind me. Cars are boring. Trains are much more fun. Unfortunately, the railway's closed, but if you visit in the future, let me know because I'm a volunteer there.
Cool.
Anyway, so my name's Paul. I work at Southeast Water down in sunny Frankston, which currently is cloudy and going to tomorrow be rainy and cold, apparently, according to Steve. And I'm a solution architect. So I've been in the business in Southeast Water for about 18 years, I think. Yeah, it is 18 years this year. Isn't that scary? But I keep jumping around the place, so not always in the same role. We purchased Boomi quite recently. So we are a ex-Tibco shop, although I don't think they know that yet, so don't tell them. And we're discovering that we've got more and more API development occurring. We've got particularly starting to increase with external parties, and we needed a way to manage it better. We also wanted to move away from the monolithic SOA models and get into much smaller services. So we've started down that journey. We're only, I think Boomi went live for us in January or early February, and we've got 2 operational applications using it now with quite a few integrations already, and we've the 3rd and 4th well on the way, so they'll both be delivering in the next couple of months. So it's been an interesting journey in learning what it can and can't do. The community hasn't helped me as yet because I only just signed up to it about 2 minutes ago. So nice. I'll be having a bit of an explore of that. Our developers, who predominantly are Wipro people, though we've started training some internal people as well, have been community users, and they use it to go and answer questions that I ask them generally, so I'll be able to go and find my own answers, which is probably better anyway, rather than bugging them. We will continue to expand Boomi. We've got our first B2B APIs going live this month, so that'll be quite interesting, how we manage to get that working and how we keep it secure and how else we manage it. And it's just going to grow for us, I think. So we're looking at a lot of new uses over the coming few years because our company's going down the dreaded digitization path with we call it digital utility, naturally enough. So be plenty to do.
Awesome, Paul. Thank you for sharing. Maybe
So
you'll be
Paul,
maybe you'll be one of our. Get it.
No, you finish, Matt. Sorry.
Sure. I was gonna say, Paul. Maybe you'll be ripe by the time we get to our next user group event and want to take on one of the lead roles as a presenter.
Oh, you never know. I present all sorts of things to all sorts of people, so you never know.
No, it's actually, I'm serious. It actually is good to get perspective. We've done a lot of events where we have somebody who's just kind of getting started and sort of fresh out of the gates and understanding what really brought them to that point. And then we get the more mature folks who've been at it for 3, 4, 5 years who can kind of tell a more mature story. So it really resonates with different types of folks in the audience. Because there's a lot of folks like you are perhaps just getting started, and then there's a lot of folks who've been at it for a while and looking to get some more information and advanced tips and tricks.
Yeah.
Look forward to that.
Cool. And on that note, Paul, I know you said you're doing a number of things. It's out his water, but perhaps if you could just for the sake of others, explain what you guys have done with the I think the first project that went live a couple of weeks ago. Around water meter and how you're controlling the flow and detecting leaks and stuff. So if you could spend a couple of minutes talking to the users about that project, that would be awesome, mate, as well.
I can. I'll have to talk at a very high level because not much of it's public. So the first thing that went live was a relatively boring integration between our asset register and our billing system and our IoT platform to push new meters as they come in through the inventory and to onboard them with our IoT platform, which then goes on and onboards them with telcos, and to create them in our billing system so that bit that people never want to have happen can happen. So we bill them for their actual water and sewage consumption. I know it sounds weird to say sewage consumption, but that actually is how it works. The next project was called continuous usage. So because we are going down the path of digital metering, we do start to understand a profile. I'll be very careful how I word this, but we start to understand a profile of usage at a given location of water. And one of the things that's, it's not an unexpected benefit of it. We thought we'd be able to do it, but we've learnt that we can actually find out when someone's got a leak inside their property, and we can let them know before it costs them thousands of dollars and wastes lots of water, which right now with all the rain we've got, no one really cares. But in the dry periods, people certainly do care very much. The next piece of work that's going live is still around meters. So we'll be doing quite a bit with meters as we progress into the future, because we'll be doing a massive rollout to replace all of our mechanical meters. So the next project is very heavily involved in that exchange process. which you might think it was a really simple thing to organise the replacement of a million little meters that are plumbed into people's houses and businesses out in the field, but it's actually quite complex and has to be done quite carefully across suburbs and districts to make sure that we're not interfering with billing and not interfering with our other processes.
Some cool projects. Interesting.
Yep, awesome. And as Andrew said, we'd love to kind of have you speak at one of those future events in terms of how far you went and perhaps show the impact of these projects to the members of the public. But thanks a lot for sharing.
Yeah, no worries.
Who's number 2? Or actually number 3, I guess would be. Somebody's got to have a cool car story that wants to share. Maybe that's the incentive.
I can speak again, Andrew, but I get a little bit bored of telling my story. I think it's not that interesting, but I can certainly talk about what we're doing. I'm Steve Butler. I'm with Flinders University in Adelaide. I'm the integration team lead here. Why do we purchase Boomi? I didn't get a say in it. Someone else bought it and I just had to use it, so that's okay. But the business challenge that we had to resolve at that time, we were using a lot of scripting to basically do integrations to suck data out of databases and move it via files to somewhere else. So Boomi gave us that central point to be able to do that, so we can see what integrations, we can see what connections we have all in the one platform. We've got visibility and we can start to reuse some of that data rather than having one integration for a purpose and then having to build another integration for a very similar purpose. So we've been using it now for instrumental. We've moved a couple of our major systems, our finance system and our student enrolment system, up into the cloud, and Boomi certainly helped us with that. And Flinders' strategy moving forward is to purchase cloud products. We've just had a big Workday implementation, which went live about 2 weeks ago, also in the cloud. So that's certainly the way we're going, and the platform helps us do that. We've got less and less of our main systems on site now. It's all cloud product. As part of that Workday implementation, that was also a rollout of our first use of MDH in anger. So that's been in production for about 2 weeks now, and that's all going well. The community's been really helpful. Like, the training only sort of gets you so far with Boomi. There's a lot of stuff that you don't know, but you get on the community and other people have run into the same problems. And there's normally some stuff there to help you through. Where are we going next? We want to keep looking at ways that we can reuse integrations, reuse data that we already have within the platform. And a feature that I think we'd like to get into is the API gateways. I think that would be able to help us in the future. But we haven't sort of explored that too much yet. Favourite car and why? I don't really have a favourite. I like classic cars. Anything vintage or classic is for me. I don't own one. I've got 2 very new cars out in the driveway. So maybe that's a dream one when I have a heap of money and a big shed to put something in.
Cool.
Thank you,
Steve. Great. Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your story. John, can we pick on you? Or anybody, unless anybody else wants to volunteer. We got a bunch of silent folks here. Haven't jumped in yet to the conversation, so anybody's welcome to jump in at any point and share away.
Hi guys, this is Gigi. I'm from Detmold Packaging and based in Adelaide, South Australia. So for me as well, this is the first time I'm attending a session like this. And why did we purchase Boomi? It's been about, I think, 3 or 4 years. We bought Boomi around 2017. And the initial reason was for integrating Salesforce with QAD. That's the ERP system that we use here in Detmold. So after that, like we've also used, we are also currently using Boomi for our e-commerce orders to be entered into QAD ERP. So initially, although it was a challenge for us to, figure out how we can get Boomi to interact with QAD ERP, but then later on, with the help of web services, we were able to achieve that. And other than that, how Boomi user community has helped is like, it's a good, you know, a platform for, you know, getting ideas when Boomi development and integration is concerned. So it was a really useful one for me as a Boomi developer. And then where's the next journey? I'm not sure. At this point of time, probably we might be looking at EDI and stuff like that, because most of our customers are more interested in, you know, EDI. So that could be one of them. And the last one, what's your favorite car and why? Maybe Mini Cooper, more because it's more compact and more toy-like. So, and which is the one which I would like to own. That's
Awesome.
it.
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
Gigi, thank you so much for sharing. So Steve, Gigi, we have two from Adelaide now. So Arun will have to
Adelaide
talk about that
represent.
on the next tour, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've met both Gigi as well as Steve. Steve, we have met. Have we met in person? Don't think. Oh yes, I do. I think once.
I think once, yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I've
We've
met Gigi
talked
as
via
well.
laptops a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been meeting these guys. So that's great to know, Gigi. Like that you've been using Boomi for that long, and just so you know, Detmold, they're like a very small, like a local small business in Adelaide. They do all the development in-house, and they're not small as in a small company, but from a Boomi perspective, they are a small shop. Chances are, if you drank a cup of coffee or anything, the coffee cup is manufactured by Detmold.
Yes.
So they're very big in recycling and in manufacturing recyclable materials for, like, you know, consumption, like, you know, whether it's a takeaway cup. I think you supply to McDonald's as well, right? All the takeaway cups and
Yes,
things that,
McDonald's, Subway,
yeah.
most of the food
So
industry.
it's funny how you used a lot of these things or services that you don't know which company or which organizations are involved in the end-to-end life cycle of it. So Detmold is one of those companies for sure. If you have,
And now we are, sorry to interrupt, and now we are into masks, especially after the
Sure.
COVID. The business was set up in 14 weeks. So yeah, so
Wow.
it's all in the news now.
It's great.
awesome. I think if you don't have anyone, then I saw Judy on the call as well. Hey, Judy. Okay, probably she's she can't hear us.
She's on mute. I see.
Hello?
I do see Judy
Oh.
on
Hey,
there.
Hi.
Hey, Judy.
Hello.
Thanks for
Can
joining.
you hear me now? Yeah, no worries. So
Yes, we can.
I've been working in Teams a lot. I'm trying to figure out this Zoom thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for
So
making the call, and we'd like to kind of, you know, obviously, like, you know, pick on you for some of these things. And Andrew, just a cue, you would remember Judy. You met her in Adelaide last year. She also presented at our Perth User Group event.
yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Cool.
I met Andrew
Awesome.
at Perth. Yeah.
At Perth. Great.
Yeah. So my name is Judy Ralph, and I work for Fremantle Ports in Fremantle, Western Australia. And my role here is test coordinator and integration coordinator. We purchased Boomi, because we had some legacy software doing running integration scripts, and we are about to upgrade our finance system, looking at putting in an ERP. We have a lot of different systems at the port because we have everything: finance, shipping, maintenance, safety, a whole lot of different systems and processes running. So we wanted to have a common platform in which we could use to get all of those talking to each other and one that is quite flexible and adaptable, and to the changes that we're going through at the moment, because yeah, everything we look at is about to be replaced or upgraded. So yeah, that's, I think, what the business challenges is helping us to resolve is, yeah, just the flexibility and the possibility to kind of set up half an integration as such, if you want, from the one end that you are going to use, and then have that prepped and ready to work with the other end. I attended a user community group meeting in Perth, and that was really useful, getting to know a few of the other people in the Perth area who are using it, and they have reached out to us to ask for some assistance.
Great.
Yeah,
good story.
and yeah, and then I've also been promoting Boomi across other ports that are calling to ask me up about manifest processing. So yeah, I've been putting them onto Boomi as a possibility to help them with their integration of their manifests. And where's it taking us next? So yeah, well, we're about to put in this new finance system, new HR system, with it, possibly in one ERP, might be separate, I'm not sure, but either way, there's going to be a lot of integration work to all of our other systems. So that's our main big project coming up in the pipeline. And car-wise, I don't know. I think I used to love my Audi when I had an Audi, but now I seem to have gone back to wanting a little like Fiat bubble car with a roof that comes down. Maybe not a Fiat, but anything with a roof that comes down.
Yeah, I heard such great things about Perth weather when I was there. It just non-stop rain for 3 days. So I didn't get the chance. I didn't get a chance to really experience Perth, but I do remember meeting you, and you know, it's great to see you back here. So I think I definitely would have recognized you if you had your camera turned on, but that's okay.
Yes, I know.
Same.
Sorry, I don't have a camera on this computer, and when I asked for a little, like, you know, separate one to put on top, they told me I had to wait till November to get one.
Gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
it's great to have you back here. Appreciate it. Sorry we're not able to see you in person. This time we had talked about the live events, but for now we're doing these virtually. So appreciate you sharing.
Yep, no worries.
So I know we have Vian on the line as well. Maybe we have time for one more, guys. Arun, Vian, are you okay with that?
I can introduce myself if you like, Andrew. John here.
Sure, please, John. That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, John Bedford. I work as a solution architect in a company called Leonardo. We have Melbourne, Brisbane, and Sydney sort of sites, and look over part of Australia as a partner to Boomi. But we also implementations for a number of our clients of different platforms. So Boomi is not the only integration platform we have. However, it does fit a nice niche between the really high level tier one traditional sort of platforms and some of the more open source type platforms. So it fits a nice place in the market there. We've used it in a couple of clients and done some managed services with clients. So we personally don't have the product. We have plenty of people trained in the product, and we've done some pretty neat work with some of the frameworks around the Boomi componentry, which is exciting. Some of the early days experiences with Boomi were really positive. There's things where you go to a managed service with a degree of knowledge of the product and your training and so under the belt, but getting your first production critical issue and being able to come in, find your way through the platform and resolve it in a matter of half an hour or so was a really pleasing outcome compared to some of the other products that are around the markets these days.
That's awesome.
You know, working through your TIBCOs and your high level products that would probably take you, the best part of half a day to find some of the problems with the Boomi product. Help immensely in that space.
Hey, Vicky, Vicky, you took note of that? If you're on the line, I'm sure.
Yes,
Vicky.
I did. I'm just going to respond to you, Paul.
Community helped us out quite a lot in that managed space too. You just ask a few questions and you usually get some sort of opinion or an answer back. Sometimes the opinions are just that, but they certainly all help in figuring out where problems may be resolved easily. Our journey is basically through a few new contacts and new clients over time. We manage sort of end-to-end business improvements. So we go right from business design, business automation, integration, and even through to the engineering of the platforms and that. So it's sort of whole stack sort of space we get into it. So it's not specialised in the Boomi space. However, we do have a number of Boomi specialists. More projects is basically what we're interested in. So it's a fun product to work with, and it's very flexible in what it does. Favourite car? That's an interesting one. Few favourite cars. I'll have to say the one I've got at the moment is my favourite. It's just a plain old Mazda. But what I like about the Mazda vehicle is there's quite nice ride in them. They're not a perfect car, but the reliability I think is brilliant, and yeah, it's really pleasing. I would have liked to go full electric, but it's a little bit out of the price range at the moment.
Awesome. Great, John. Thank you for sharing as well. Thank you for bringing this home, wrapping it up on this section. I think we'll continue the dialogue. I think that's one of the things that people really seem to enjoy about the Boomi Connect, the user groups, is that and we have, I wouldn't say we have a strict agenda. We like to keep these free flowing and organic conversation with some basic structure to it, but it really provides opportunity for people to share their story and ask questions and connect with each other. So appreciate you guys all volunteering to share your story with us today, and hopefully we can continue this dialogue before the session's up this afternoon. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing. Vian, you there?
Yes, Andrew, I'm here.
How's it going? How are you?
Good, Matt. How are you?
Doing
Long
very
time
well,
no see.
thanks. Yes, long time no see as well. Long time no see. I'm sorry that we're not over there to spend time together in person, but hopefully sometime soon. In the meantime, we're all keeping safe. That's the important thing. So I'm going to give you the controls so you're able to share. Give me just 1 second. I'm going to make you co-host. Oh, that didn't work. Here we are. Vian, you're always dressed so nicely, even for working from home. I admire that in you.
Well, thank you. I tried to keep it as close as reality was a few months ago.
That's right.
So it gives me an opportunity to switch off from work, at the same time, try to, help integrate back when we go back to business as usual, I guess.
That's right. That's right. And I see you're copying the same computer I have. You have a copycat computer there.
Not sure what that would mean. Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
He uses
So
a
the
standing
cameras
desk fan.
are not at the right spot, actually.
That's right.
You understand what I mean? So yeah, that's right. So I wanted to say hello to everyone. I can see some great inputs coming from the group, and I was listening into a few of them. And it's great to see the usage of the platform and what you have planned for the coming future. So that's really good to know. Now I am going to switch off my camera for a while I'm presenting, just because the network is not the best today for some reason. So once I've finished my deck, I will switch back my camera and we can have a bit of a dialogue if you have any questions and so forth, if that's okay. So hey everyone, it's good to meet you. I'm pretty sure I would have met few of you during the Boomi sales cycle. I'm part of the pre-sales team. My name is Venkat Narra, and I've been with Boomi for just over 5 years now. Looks like yesterday, but yeah, it's been 5 years now. So it's good to be here, and thanks for participating in this user group as well. So with that, I am going to stop my video and share my screen.
So Vian, I think you came to us to Perth last year with us, I believe, right?
No, unfortunately, I wasn't there in the Perth event. I was tied up with other work.
I remember where
Should have been
It
Ram.
was
If
it was
I'm
Ram. Yep,
it
it
was
was
Ram.
Ram for the
Okay.
fourth event. Yep.
I thought were you at one of our events though, right?
So it was here in Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely Melbourne.
Got it. Got it.
Yep. So let me go full screen and yeah, Andrew, let me know when it comes up.
See your presenter view. I think you have to switch
Yeah.
to the other screen.
I'm trying to see how do you do that.
I think if you stop sharing or stop sharing on Zoom and then share your other screen. You have two screens, right? Split screen.
Yes.
Yeah, share the other screen, and it should show the right view.
Cool.
There we go.
I believe now I'm in presentation mode.
Yes.
Cool. Well, the reason I chose this topic is because it's something which we are hearing from most of our customers now in terms of to understand how CI/CD sits with Boomi, what are the capabilities Boomi has in this space, and to be honest, what they want to know is what is the approach which we have seen with our customers across the globe. Now, one thing is good about Boomi is, the customer base is very wide, right? Globally, we have a very good footprint, which allows us to look at some of the synergies and kind of, create assets, reusable assets, enhance to what customers are doing. There's a lot of innovation going out with our customers, and obviously one common place to share all that innovation is through our community. So we pick up cues from our community, and we kind of have a very focused team which looks at that and kind of comes up with framework which becomes to some standard which can be taken up by other customers and see how they can adapt to this to these requirements if there are within your organization. So obviously, as you would know, CI/CD is basically about the continuous integration and the delivery, and comes the automation. So continuous delivery is all about how do we collaborate as developers, as testers who are working on the same platform, and automate the testing and do the validation, right? But when it comes to the delivery part, it talks about how often do you want to do it? Is the business ready to have a daily, weekly delivery? Suit some organization, may not be suitable to other organizations, but that's the approach which can be taken. And talking about continuous delivery, the concept is how do we create reusable and loosely coupled artifacts. So that's the core of continuous delivery as I see it. And from that, everybody wants to achieve that automation of, hey, how can you help us through that journey of SDLC, building, testing, deployment, and then obviously monitoring of these automated processes as we want to deploy them and make them production. Now, of course, the end game is technically to reduce any IT layers or significant infrastructure management. So that's one of the challenges with the CI/CD concept as to is the time is it's more of, do we have a team in place which can manage the CI/CD versus can the product support it? Having said that, I understand the product question in it as well. So today I want to talk about the three approach which we see with our customers, and for all good reasons, there's no right or wrong approach to it. These are just how we have seen some of the common patterns which our customer follows. And we also, I also want to mention that we see the same three different patterns by the same customer as well. Be it project specific or a particular delivery specific or a team specific. It all depends on, do we have that capacity and how are the BAUs lined up to deliver a particular piece of work for the organization. So the first one which we see is using the native capabilities of Boomi. I'm pretty sure you guys are aware with the version control which Boomi provides, not just at the build tab. So everything you save becomes a version within the build tab. But even within deployment, you have different versioning. And we created this concept of package management, package manager a few years ago now, which allows you to take a snapshot of different deployable components and call it as a package version. And that package version allows you to have, multiple development teams working together, collaborating, or working on the same piece of code, but you take a snapshot of what you want to deploy to and move it to the next environment for your testing. So package is a very common concept. So large organizations where you have a small piece of delivery, a small team which is working on it, they still look at package management to deliver their CI/CD, if I may call that. And then on top of it, we have built some frameworks, right? So obviously, you must be aware of the process libraries. So the idea behind process libraries, can we create some common asset, make it available for our customers? It has twofold usage, if I may call that. One is somebody who is new to Boomi, they get introduced to some of the common patterns as you see, and you can kind of start learning the product as you start building it, because it comes with all that literature. But the second use case, which is basically to say that, hey, how do we create reusable assets and make it available for our customers? And this is where community is going to play a big role, because obviously Andrew will speak to it if he hasn't already. But the idea is, can we have business verticals which can collaborate? Can there be many asset sharing, and can we create some common common user groups, or or people who can collaborate within the community space? So we want to do that, and using the very basic foundation of where that is coming from is some of the processes which we have built. So a unit test case framework, as an example, can be easily taken up by our customers. These are some of the assets which our PS would have built it, but obviously these are just frameworks, and these can take any forms or shape, or any or it can take it can be molded to suit your business. So essentially, the test harness talks about how do we call for a process which is actually doing a unit testing, and what do you want to do with that unit testing? Do you want to, if it is a success, use our own platform APIs to progress it to the next environment? So all these are available because we have our own platform APIs which we can leverage to progress a piece of code or integration process from one environment to the other, essentially allowing you to manage the complete SDLC, and with some automation and some unit test framework which are built again using Boomi integration itself. But there are other use cases where you want to use some external tools, right? At the end of the day, the idea is, do we have an orchestration tools like Junkin or TeamCity, which is available? If that's in your ecosystem already, how do Boomi lean into to say that, hey, can I use my existing tool set to manage my CI/CD? The answer is obviously yes. And as I said, CI/CD is more of, do you have the team in place to manage it and maintain it, versus can the product support it? So the answer has always been yes, but I can understand what has Boomi done in this space is where I'm trying to talk to in this one. So we have taken two approaches, and there are two assets which I personally have been part of. And the first one is using a TeamCity, and we have some collaterals which we can share as well. These are available on our community side, as I said, but I'm happy to send you these links, which is also in this presentation, and I can share this at the end of session as well. So essentially, this is basically using the platform API. So we are using, at the core, is just calling for Boomi APIs to manage if a unit testing is developed within the SOAP UI. How do I use my Postman to deploy from one environment to the other? When do you qualify a process ready for progression to a next environment? But a more a matured approach which we have recently taken is, essentially once you have created, once you have the package, and that's where really you want to automate your CI/CD process kind of to take off. Now, orchestration can be managed through pipeline tools like Jenkins, as I said. So what we have essentially done here is we have created this framework which is portable. This is extensible and can be installed and configured with a very few clicks. Now, the overall idea is the framework is built around the platform APIs, which is right at the center as you see it. And then we have built a CLI interface already. So the CLI interface is to wrap the request calls and response output from the Boomi APIs. And we have wrapped the CLI into a Jenkins jobs again. And these Jenkins jobs are grouped to perform certain activities. Finally, what we have done is we have taken this Jenkins job CLI along with all the plugins, and we have created a Docker image. So Docker image becomes something which we can share with you. This can be published and you can take the code, and that's what I meant when I said, you can take the code and with few clicks you can deploy them. So all these assets are available through our community. I want to stress that again. So we can share that with you. Now, essentially, from the CLI, as I said, this is basically the Boomi APIs, and we have created them. Otherwise, some of the questions which our customers have been asking is, hey, there are too many variables. How do I declare them within the within these APIs, and how do I make them reusable? So CLI is the exact answer to some of the questions which our customers have been asking. And as I said, once those are available, we have created some, these are some of the jobs which we have created. These are available through Jenkins. They have been divided into those 4 kind of packages. So if you have package package manager installed as part of your Boomi subscription, so you can directly use the package deployment APIs in this case. Or we also have created something which is still at a process level. So if you don't have package deployment activated in your account, we do have those APIs also combined together within the Jenkins jobs as well. And you can perform some of the activities, like if you want to create an atom, an environment definition, associate the runtimes with those environments. So all that can be done as well. And obviously, we want to enable you on some, process execution and status as well. So that's on the operations side of what's available as well. Now, once this is all available, what does a new deployment look like? So this is a view, not necessarily, you have to have every piece of this puzzle to enable CI/CD, but essentially talking about, hey, the maximum number of combinations which you can still have. And I have, this slide represents a Boomi flow, but that's again not a mandatory, step to have a CI/CD, pipeline, if I may call it. So the idea is once you have, a development activity happening, obviously it will go through some kind of approval process. And once the approval process is allowed, that is done through Boomi Flow, or at a very basic through an email. It can start with that CI/CD. It goes through the build phase where using the Jenkins pipelines, I can do a deployment or create a new environment for my testing, unit testing. While I do that, I can save a process, source code into a GitHub repository, which can be done. We can do some code comparison with a SonarQube as an example in your validation step, or that can be managed through Postman as an example. And then you can move the code from one environment to the other, which is doing a QA. You can have validation notifications again. Can be managed with any tools like Slack as an example, and the end game is to push the code into production. Now, before I pause for questions, I just want to speak about the enhancement and resolution. Yes, we have kind of created a view of that as well. So essentially, again, introducing a few of the elements here, which is, where do you record your process errors as they come through Do you have a Jira in place or any other tool which does similar job? And how do you want to progress from there, which becomes, do you assign it through Slacks to a team, which is the primary focus being bug fix, and does it go through any approval process, and again initiate that pipeline through calling the Boomi APIs through any of the orchestration tool like Junkin. So as I said, we have these assets which are available, which I can share with you, and I can give you a sneak peek of where they're available and how do you look for them as well. So these links are to our community sites. There's obviously, if you are interested in the CI/CD and have a walkthrough, we have a YouTube channel in which I can send you the link. And then the larger question of, hey, the complete DevOps, right? CI/CD is one area of a DevOps. So what has Boomi assets available? So all that is combined into a more refined presentation within the community site as well. So with that, I will pause to check if there are any questions. All right, I will speak for another 2 minutes. So again, this is the assets which is around Team City, and this has been available for a while. If you haven't looked at it, reach out to us, and I can share this asset with you. The other asset which I talked about, again, if you go to Boomiverse, CI/CD reference implementation. This is done by one of our, architects, Ajay Natarajan. So he goes in depth to, what are the steps through which you can, get the command, the CLI. Where do we have within our GitHub? How do you get that, and the step-by-step process of installing it and making it ready. And this is the DevOps Boomi, the complete resource, which talks about not just deploy and release, but
Sorry,
the
Venkat, we can't see your screen. Sorry, Venkat, we can't see your screen. Yep.
Oh, thanks you. I wasn't aware of that. Let me share it again. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. So yeah, I was speaking about this document which we have for the Team City. We have had this for a while, and then the other assets which are available through our community. So these are the links which I have on the last deck, which I can share as well. And then the complete DevOps approach, which not just talks about deploy and release, but it talks about what is the test strategies, what do we have around monitoring and operations. So some of the good assets which we have created over time. And of course, it's not just Boomi which is creating these assets, but most of our partners have also had few approaches which they have taken. As I said, tooling is basically, we have developed it to showcase around Junkin, but that's not the only DevOps environment which you can have. There is an Azure DevOps which one of our partner has done. So they have detailed the approach of how they have achieved it, and the package component and everything which goes with it. Yeah, with that, yeah, I'll pause to check questions. Otherwise, over to you, Andrew.
Cool. Thank you, Vian. Any questions from the crowd, from the audience? Anybody have any questions for Vian? Appreciate you taking the time to share that with us. Okay. All right, sounds good. Well, Arun, so I guess we have about just about 10 minutes actually before the end of the session today. As time went by pretty quickly. So we have two options. One is I can do a quick overview of the community, talk a bit about some of the things that we mentioned earlier, and some of the stuff that's kind of coming soon to the community, or do we want to continue to have some more of the organic conversation, less structured conversation and presentation from one of us? Arun, I don't know if anybody has any thoughts, anybody wants to kind of help us make that decision, maybe post your thoughts in the chat. That's always an option. But we can use the last couple of minutes to do it either or, whatever you guys feel is going to be more valuable to you all.
Yeah, I'd be guided by what others says. It's like, you know, it's a very informal user group. And just to finish up on what Venkat showed. So again, that presentation was not meant to kind of, you know, sell or sell you anything. You know, it was just like a lot of people are actively trying to kind of, you know, the more mature organizations are becoming, they are talking to us in terms of how we can, like, you know, set up some sort of a CI/CD pipeline to make sure that we have consistency in our environments. We have automated way to deploy, move code across environments. So all these things that we, you know, keep hearing from a lot of our customers. So we've brought a lot of investments in terms of making an end-to-end tooling available, allowing to integrate with a number of known technologies that you see in the market. For instance, Jenkins and TeamCity, they've been out there as build coordinators for quite a while. As Venkat mentioned, the whole purpose of creating all this custom bash scripts was there were a lot of APIs available, but then the work fell onto our customers to kind of, you know, identify which APIs to call and then instrument the APIs in a way to do the end-to-end things. So that was the whole purpose of, like, you know, releasing is. So would be keen to kind of, you know, hear your thoughts. If you need to hear about something else in our future sessions, like, you know, any other aspects of our product, let us know. If you have any questions, ask now or post it to myself or Andrew later on. But would like to understand if anyone else want to speak about some of the things that they're doing, or share anything that you're doing around Boomi, anything which is working as well as what is not working, how we can improve the product. That would be great as well at this session.
I do have one question actually from and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but Shashikant has asked, unable to unmute for some reason. So I'll ask the question that's posted here, and Vian, I'll probably point to you as the person to answer, but just wants to know in general more about Test Harness. Is that something that
Andrew, can you hear me?
Yep,
Am I audible?
hear.
Shashi here?
You can. Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay.
Did I get that correct?
Yeah, you can call me Sashi.
Sashi.
So one of the key challenges that we have in our implementation is to, you know, have a set of integration test suites run, and currently we have a kind of a test harness which, you know, is invoked externally, or we have to deploy something along with the package. So we wanted to have some background in this if Boomi is actively working on a module which we can, you know, use for these kinds of test setups. You know, different APIs and processes that we build, we want to test them before we go ahead and pass it on to UAT and things like that.
Yes, thanks for that question, Shashikant. I can answer that. There's VN here again. So with regards to testing, I don't think we have that in our roadmap because, you know, at the end of the day, it's not a core integration requirement. I understand while you're doing an end-to-end testing, obviously you need to test a few things. Now, how can you do it if the testing, you know, framework is not entirely built within Boomi, but how does Boomi complement the testing approaches is what I'm hearing from your questions. So essentially, you know, you have you can call for scripts, and there are multiple ways to do a unit testing, and we are talking about unit testing here, not a complete a load testing for every scenarios here. But essentially, for a unit testing, when we look at the approach, some of our customers use different tools, right? So you call for those tools to do the testing or capture the results and then do a comparison. Like when I was talking about SOAP UI allows you to create some create some testing framework within that SOAP UI as an example. And other customers, what they are doing is, you know, every time you have a step for testing, you take the inputs from Boomi, take it to the system where you have these results or test harnesses maintained, and do the comparison and get back the results. So to give you a yes or a no, right? So that's the approach which we are seeing, rather than trying to create a test module within Boomi, if I may call that. Does that answer your question? Arun, you have anything to add to that?
No, no. I guess the only thing I would add to is, like, we have a number of customers who are doing these test harnesses, who are developing these test harnesses, whether using SOAP UI or Ready API or Postman. I'm pretty sure once you start a community thread, people will jump in and help you in terms of how they build their test harnesses, especially to do testing of transformations or end-to-end integrations. But again, that's a part of the community. You can, like, seek guidance from how people are building test harnesses. That's I'm pretty sure you will have a lot of answers. And the whole idea is, it's once you develop those test harnesses, it's very easy to integrate in your pipeline with the kind of things that Venkat has shown.
Yes, Arun. Yeah, that's the journey we have embarked on. We have built our own test harness. We used Postman and some more tools.
Cool.
But that's
Awesome.
the journey we have embarked on.
Yeah, and then if you start sharing in the community in terms of what you have done, perhaps start a thread in the community. Andrew would love it. If you share something that you've built, I'm pretty sure if you need any other advice in terms of building other harnesses for other types of test cases, the community will chip in for sure. Because as you said, like, we have a number of customers starting to invest in building CI/CD pipelines, and how do they test the artifacts is a recurrent questions. And our intention is to kind of community to drive these harnesses, pool the knowledge, share what you have done, so that you can benefit from each other.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Thanks,
so
Arun.
Andrew, yep, thanks, Ashika. And again, feel free to download what the collaterals that Venkat has shared. We have an end-to-end working demonstration with all the scripts and artifacts and the pipelines. So we'd be happy to hear your thoughts in terms of how effective it is and how it has helped you.
Sure.
Yep. So I think everyone, probably in the interest of time, we obviously don't have time to do a full community demo, although there were several folks in the call today that did ping on the chat that said that they'd like to hear or kind of do a deeper dive on community. So why don't we set up a separate session for that? I'd be happy to walk anybody who's interested through that, talk about some of the features we have available today, some of the stuff that VN had mentioned, and then some of the stuff that's coming down the pipeline on community. Because like I said initially, it is changing quickly. There's a big investment by Boomi to continue to make the community a centerpiece for our customers to be able to get the information they need for whatever reasons they're coming to community, whether it's to connect with their peers or submit product ideas or browse the knowledge content or access the LMS to get their training and certification, look for new opportunities, et cetera. So there's a lot of new stuff coming, a lot of new features that we rolled out recently. So why don't we take that as an action item on our part? I know Gigi and Paul and Judy all mentioned that they'd love to get a bit of a deeper dive on that.
Yeah.
So I'd be happy to, maybe you guys can reach out to Arun. We can find a time that works for everybody, and then we'll set up a session and do it that way.
Yep, absolutely, Andrew. So I know we
Cool.
cannot do a whole community drive, but I think let's add one thing before we finish this call up. So the intent of the whole changes in the community is to kind of making it self-intuitive, easy to access and find information and resources. So even if you go to the community and start playing it around, you would see that it's very it's pretty guided. You probably would find that it's pretty intuitive to give you all the things that you're looking for anyway. But if again, we can do a more deep dive in terms of the community anyway. The two things I want to mention and probably close with is, we've heard people say that, hey, they want to know what's coming in Boomi, where the product is going, what are you doing with the product. So we just for the sake of everyone, we have now a quarterly web roadmap series. So across all of our products and services, our product managers do these roadmaps every quarter. So you would always know about what is the latest and the greatest happening in Boomi across each of the products stream and Boomi overall as a platform. So I'll post these links and send it out to you as a to some of those like previous webinars that we've done. You can attend them in person, give you opportunity to ask questions to our product managers directly. If you can't for some reason, feel free to kind of check the recordings. The second thing is the Ask the Expert series. We've obviously launched a number of product specific series. Like, you know, if you have any technical questions, deep dives around any of the services, then we have those Ask the Expert series. You can browse these events through the event link in the community. So all of these webinars and the events are posted in the community under the event section.
I
So
believe
look
there
at
are several that are APJ friendly in terms of the time zone. I know
yeah,
that Michelle was working
yep,
on adding those, so I
yep,
believe that those are now in there as well.
yep. Most of the Ask the Expert series, they happen 8 a.m. APJ time. So we have a real expert who's going to be available in person to help you with these questions. So if you've got any questions across API management, integration, MDH, or anything else, sign up for those series, ask those questions, get those questions answered. Very effective. And again, Andrew, you know, we'll send out some links for the community events section so that, you know, people are across the various different events that we run, covering all aspects of Boomi: products, customers, roadmaps.
There's also the monthly release notes that's posted every month. So the webinar is quarterly. So the latest one that's up there now is the Q2 quarterly webinar, product roadmap. You can find that on the community. Just do a search for product roadmap webinar. It includes all of the videos from the webinar, so you'll be able to browse those and look at kind of the unified platform video along with all of the individual product presentations. But then the monthly release notes are also something that's very valuable to take a look at. It really helps you plan for you know, for what you're going to be doing with the platform and how you're going to be responding to some of the changes that are happening within Boomi. So more on that, but I think we can get into some of those details on a community focused session. Talk about all the different assets in there that are valuable to you all. So a couple last comments or thoughts. One is, I know we're a bit over here, so I appreciate everyone sticking on this. If you haven't yet taken the poll, please do that if you can. That'd be great. Really appreciate that feedback. Secondly, VN, if you don't mind sending me your presentation, I will be putting all of this together and creating a community post along with the recording. So you'll be able to refer back to that at any point. And third, if there's anybody has any additional comments or questions or any live feedback, we'd certainly love to hear from you. If you don't, you can always send us those questions via email or reach out to us on the community. But other than that, hope you guys got some value from this today. I know time went by really quickly. It seemed to fly by. So appreciate everyone sticking in there and participating and you know, adding to the experience today. So unless anybody has any closing comments or thoughts, you know, give that a 30 seconds or so, and otherwise we'll end this today and look forward to seeing you at the next one. Hopefully the next one's in person.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Great to see you guys.
Thanks a lot, folks.
Appreciate it again.
Cheers.
Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Cheers, everyone. Thanks, VN.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.